Hey, I'm Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism in the game Core of Discovery, which looks like this. This is I believe it plays up to 4 players. I played it at 2. This is an exploration survival game based on an alternate version of the Lewis and Clark expedition across the Mississippi. I'm in St. Louis. I'm just across the Mississippi, and it was neat to see the arch appear in this game. I love when games do something a little bit different with exploration, and this game does something rather large, like it's built around a really cool exploration mechanism, which is this grid that you can see right here. This grid involves a bunch of tokens that are placed on top of a sheet of paper that is inserted under this piece of cardboard, and that's what you're seeing here. These icons that you can see through are places where you have explored, where you've picked up these green tokens, you've removed them, and you've explored to see what is underneath it. Like there's water here, there's a forest here, there's a food source here, there's a place where you can camp here, there's a hill, which is kind of a free turn, which is lovely. There are also forts, there are monsters, there are various things that you can find here. And the neat thing is that, in particular, is that these things aren't random. This undersheet, and there are many of them in the game, is designed around a series of deduction puzzle consistent clues, basically, where you know, for example, that there's always 1 wood per column. You know that there's a wood there. So given that we've already found a wood in this first column, we know that nothing else in this column is a wood. So if we're looking for a specific thing, we know that we're not going to accidentally turn up a wood, even if we want wood. Or if we want wood, we know that we haven't uncovered a wood in this column or this column. There's a bunch of rules like that in the game. And there are also some little tweaks to the rules. You can see it right here based on the scenario. So the scenario might add a little bit of a tweak. So the exploration, it starts out very blind. You don't know what you're going to stumble into. But the more that you uncover and discover, and the more that you explore, the more you can actually use deductive reasoning to figure out where things are and where you might find certain things or not find certain things. I think this is really, really clever, really neat version of exploration. And one other little tweak that they do to it in using a 4x4 grid is that they also give you bonuses when you clear an entire row or an entire column. I thought that was cool too. That is the main thing that I think it really stands out about this game. It is the core mechanism, it's the core component of the game, and it is really fun, really interesting deductive reasoning exploration in Core of Discovery. One other little thing I wanted to mention is that there are these forts that you can discover. Actually, I have one other thing about the exploration as well. I'll come back to that. But these forts that you discover, they are often tied, or they often seem to be tied to your goal for any particular mission. We played an early mission in the I think it might be a campaign, maybe it's just scenario based, but we played a scenario where we were trying to find and kill 3 minotaurs. That's the alternate history aspect. There are some dangerous, very dangerous mythological creatures on this side of the Mississippi in this world. So we're trying to find and kill them. But the game, I think this is really clever, actually. The game doesn't just give you a default way to kill a minotaur. Rather, you need to find these forts, which are out here on the board somewhere, and learn from those forts how to kill the minotaurs, which comes from a random deck where if you uncover a fort, you get to learn one of multiple ways to kill a minotaur. And once you use one of those methods to kill a minotaur, you can't use that method again. So instead of each minotaur just having a default health and you need to go to find the minotaur and then kill the minotaur, instead you have to use these different techniques that you need to discover and also then discover the minotaurs to figure out how to get rid of them. I thought that was a neat way to have players deal with an antagonistic force in a game. The other thing that I forgot when I was talking about exploration that I wanted to come back to is the game, I think, realizes that it is tough for players, as they're using their deductive reasoning skills, it's tough for them to remember everything that they've talked about and discussed in terms of this grid. And so they do something really small, but really, really clever, which is, here's an example. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit here. This isn't a perfect example, but it's related to it. See this token here? This is a stone token, a rock token, and it's placed on this circle. There are a bunch of tokens like this in the game. In fact, I think they're up here. Here they go. Yeah, there's fruit, there's wood, there's stone. I think that's stone. Water. You have all these tokens. So if you figure out using your deductive reasoning that something is for sure, say, a water, then you can put a water token on that space. You haven't discovered it yet, but you know that when you need water that you can go there to get it. But also the little touch that I thought was really clever is that on the back of each of these tokens, you can see it right here, these question marks. There's a question mark on the back of these tokens. And so if at any time you think you have used your deductive reasoning to figure out that one of, say, two spaces could be water, instead of putting a water token on it, you face up, you put it face down to show, I think this is water, question mark. That's where the question mark is. I thought that was a really clever touch to help players keep track of this information, not just that there's for sure a stone right here, but also on the backside, there's a stone with a question mark. If you think it's probably a stone, but you don't know for sure. Just a nice little clever component touch that I wanted to highlight for this game. Those are my favorite mechanisms from Core of Discovery. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you have played this game, or if you have another exploration game in mind that you think does something really clever that hasn't been done before with exploration. I'd love to hear about that in the comments below. Thanks.